So far in this course, we have seen how powerful AI is, and 8212, how it learns from data, the kinds of problems it solves, and how a real AI project comes together. And it is genuinely powerful. It can do things that seemed like science fiction just a few years ago. But today, we do something just as important, and maybe more important. We look honestly at what AI cannot do, and at the ways it goes wrong. Because here is the truth that separates someone who uses AI well from someone who gets burned by it. AI is not magic, and it is not always right. It can be biased. It can be confidently completely wrong. And it can invent things, and 80-80-12, facts, quotes, references, and 8212 that sound perfectly true, but are entirely made up. If you trust AI blindly, these failures will eventually bite you, sometimes badly. But if you understand them and 80-80-12, why they happen and how to guard against them and 80-80-80-12, you can use AI as the powerful tool it is without being fooled by it. Today, we will cover the three big limitations: bias, confident errors, and hallucination. We will see why they happen and how to use AI wisely despite them. This is the class that turns you from an amazed user into a wise one. Let us look at the limits. Here is our path for today. First, why the limits matter. Second, how AI learns from data and 8112 and inherits its flaws. Third, bias. Fourth, confident errors. Fifth, hallucination. And sixth, how to use AI wisely. Let us dive in. Let us start with why this matters so much. Because it is tempting to just be amazed by AI and stop there. AI really is powerful. It writes, it analyzes, it predicts, it generates an 8112, and often astonishingly well. That power is real, and it is worth being excited about. But that very power is also what makes its limits dangerous. Because AI is so impressive, most of the time we are tempted to trust it completely, all of the time. And that is exactly the mistake. AI is not magic. It does not truly understand the world, it does not know what is true, and it is not always right, and 8212, even when it sounds certain. Treating it as an all-knowing oracle sets you up to be misled, because you will accept its confident mistakes as facts. The impressive surface hides the real, systematic ways it can fail, and those failures do not announce themselves, and 8202, a wrong answer looks just as polished as a right one. So the goal of this class is not to make you distrust AI or fear it, and 8212. It is to make you a wise user of it. And wisdom here means one thing above all: knowing how it fails. Once you know the specific ways AI goes wrong, and 80-IT-12, bias, confident errors, hallucination, and 80-12-T-12, you can watch for them, verify what matters, and get all the benefit of AIIN 3D12T-12's power while avoiding its traps. Knowing the limits is not a downgrade of AI. It is what lets you rely on it safely. So the takeaway: AI is genuinely powerful, but that power tempts us to trust it completely, and 8112, and it is not magic, does not understand the world, and is not always right even when it sounds certain. Using it wisely means knowing exactly how it fails, so you get its benefits without being misled by its confident mistakes. To understand why AI fails in the ways it does, we need to remember one fundamental thing from earlier in the course: an AI learns from data. That single fact is the root of almost every limitation. Recall how this works. You do not program an AI with rules, you show it data and 8212, lots of examples and 8212, and it learns the patterns in that data. Its entire knowledge of the world comes from what it was shown. It has never seen anything beyond its training data. That data is its whole universe. Whatever the data contained, the model learned. Whatever the data lacked, the model does not know. Now, the crucial consequence: if the data is flawed, the model is flawed. There is an old saying in computing, an 8200 ho, garbage in, garbage out, and 8200 ho, and it applies to AI with full force. If the training data is biased, the model will be biased. If the data has gaps, the model will have blind spots. If the data contains errors, the model can learn those errors. The model faithfully absorbs whatever is in the data, the bad along with the good, because it cannot tell the difference in 8 to 1 to half. It has nothing else to go on. This reframes AIN39 serious not as random glitches, but as direct reflections of its data. The model is a mirror of what it was trained on. So when we look at bias, at errors, at hallucination, we will keep coming back to this root. The AI knows only its data and inherits everything about it. Understanding this one principle and 8212, that an AI is only ever as good, as fair, and as complete as the data behind it, and 8212, is the key that unlocks every limitation we are about to discuss. So the takeaway? An AI learns entirely from its training data, which is its whole universe. So whatever flaws the data holds, an 8212, bias, gaps, errors, and 8212, the model faithfully inherits, because it has nothing else to go on, garbage in, garbage out. And the model is a mirror of its data. The first major limitation follows directly from that principle, and it is one of the most serious: bias. Now, bias in AI means the model systematically favors or disfavors certain groups or outcomes unfairly, and it happens for exactly the reason we just discussed. The training data was skewed. Suppose a company trains an AI to screen job applicants using its past hiring decisions and A12, and those past decisions favored one group of people over another, whether anyone intended it or not. The AI learns that pattern as if it were the correct thing to do, and it starts favoring the same group. It did not decide to be unfair. It simply learned the unfairness that was in the data. What makes AI bias especially dangerous is scale and the illusion of objectivity. A biased human affects the people they personally deal with. A biased AI can make thousands or millions of decisions, and 82 who are screening every applicant, approving every loan, ranking every case, and 8200 by fall, applying the same unfair pattern automatically to everyone. And because it is a computer, people assume it is neutral and objective, so the bias goes unquestioned. 82.2. The algorithm decided. 82.2.1 sounds impartial. Even when the algorithm is quietly repeating a human prejudice baked into all data. This is why bias is a central concern in AI, not a rare edge case. Whenever an AI makes decisions about people and 8212, hiring, lending, policing, healthcare, and 8212, you have to ask what data was it trained on, and could that data carry historical bias? The fix starts with the data, using representative, fair data, checking the model and T9, sign decisions across different groups, and never assuming that NA220, a computer, did it, NA221, means it was fair. AI does not remove human bias by default and A212. It can automate and amplify it. Recognizing that is the first step to preventing it. So the takeaway, bias means the model systematically and unfairly favors certain groups, learn directly from skewed training data and A212. And it is especially dangerous because AI applies it at massive scale while appearing objective. So whenever AI decides about people, you must question the data behind it and check decisions across groups. The second limitation is that AI models simply make mistakes and A2E2 fall. And the dangerous part is not the mistakes themselves, but how confident they can be while making them. No AI model is perfect. It will misclassify images, mispredict outcomes, and give wrong answers and 8200 fall. That is expected of any system that learns from data rather than following exact rules. If that were the whole story, it would be manageable. We handle imperfect tools all the time. But there is a twist that makes AI errors trickier than ordinary mistakes. The twist is that AI can be confidently wrong. Many models produce a confidence score alongside that answer, an 8212, an 8200. I am 98% sure this image is a cat in 8200-220, an 8200-200. And that number feels reassuring. But that confidence is not a measure of truth. It is the model in 309's internal sense of how well the input matches its patterns. A model can be 98% confident and still be completely wrong. Calling a dog a cat with total conviction. The confidence and the correctness are two different things, and one does not guarantee the other. This is a genuine trap because as humans we naturally read confidence as competence. When something states an answer firmly, we tend to believe it. So a confidently wrong AI is more dangerous than a hesitant one, and insatiable. Its certainty disarms our skepticism. The lesson is to decouple confidence from correctness in your mind. A high confidence score means NA2 by 20. This strongly matches what I was trained on. NA2 by 21, not NA2 by 2. This is definitely true. So the takeaway, AI models inevitably make mistakes, and the real danger is that they can be highly confident while being completely wrong and A21. A confidence score reflects how well the input matches learned patterns, not whether the answer is true, and 8202, so never treat certainty as correctness, and verify anything that matters, no matter how sure the AI sounds. The third limitation is one you have almost certainly seen if you have used a chatbot, and it has a memorable name: hallucination. Hallucination is when an AI and A2112, especially a language model and A2112, generates information that is fluent, confident, and completely made up. It will state a fact that is false, cite a book or a study that does not exist, quote a person who never said the words, or give a date that is simply wrong, and 80 to have, all in the same smooth authoritative tone it uses for correct answers. It is not lying in any human sense. It is producing text that fits the pattern of a plausible answer, whether or not that text is true. What makes hallucination so tricky is precisely that it is fluent and convincing. A hallucinated answer does not look broken or garbled and 82 wolf. It reads perfectly, often better than the truth would. The AI states the false fact with the exact same confidence as a real one, so there is no obvious signal that anything is wrong. You cannot spot a hallucination by how it sounds because it sounds great. This is why people get caught out. They ask a question, get a beautifully written answer with specific details, and never suspect that the specifics were invented. Understanding why this happens diffuses a lot of the surprise. A language model Antri 199's job at its core is to predict plausible next words based on patterns in its training data, and A212 not to look up and verify facts. When it does not actually know something, it does not stop and say so. It generates the most plausible sounding continuation, which can be a confident fabrication. So the rule of generative AI is simple and firm. Treat as factual claims and 8212 names, numbers, dates, quotes, citations, and 8200 while as unverified until you check them, especially when they are specific and important. Fluent is not the same as true. The better AI gets at sounding right, the more this discipline matters. So the takeaway, hallucination is when an AI produces fluent, confident, and entirely fabricated information, and 8212 false facts, fake citations, invented quotes, and 8212 in the same authoritative tone as correct answers. Because it predicts plausible text rather than verifying facts, you cannot detect it by how it sounds, so treat specific factual claims as unverified until you check them. We have seen 3 failures, and 80 here to bulb, bias, confident errors, hallucination. It helps enormously to understand the single deeper reason behind all of them, because it makes the failures predictable rather than mysterious. Here is the heart of it. AI predicts patterns. It does not understand meaning. A model and training's fundamental operation is to find and reproduce patterns from its training data, and 8-20 given this input, what output usually follows, and 8-21. It is extraordinarily good at that pattern matching, which is why it seems intelligent. But that is a very different thing from understanding. It is completing patterns, not comprehending them. And crucially, the model has no real concept of true or false, right or wrong, fair or unfair. It has no connection to the real world to check its answers against, an A212 no way to step outside its training data and verify anything. It does not know that the Eiffel Tower is really in Paris. It knows that the words an I-200, A200, Eiffel Tower, and I-200, A200, Paris and I-200, A200, A200, A208 often appear together. When the pattern it has learned happens to match reality, it is right. When the pattern is skewed, or when it is filling a gap it has no data for, it produces bias or errors or hallucination and ATH2HL with no internal alarm, because to the model, a wrong pattern completion looks exactly like a right one. This single insight ties everything together. Bias is a skew pattern faithfully reproduced. A confident error is a strong pattern match that happens to be wrong. A hallucination is a plausible pattern generated where there was no real knowledge. All three are the same underlying thing, a powerful pattern matcher with no understanding of truth, doing exactly what it was built to do. Once you see AI this way, an A212, brilliant at patterns, blind to meaning, an A212, its failures stop being surprising and start being something you can anticipate and guard against. So the takeaway, all three failures share one root, an A212. AI predicts and reproduces patterns from data, but does not understand meaning and has no concept of true or false or any way to check against the real world. Bias, confident errors, and hallucination are all the same pattern matcher, blind to truth, doing its job, which makes its failures predictable rather than mysterious. Knowing the limits is only useful if we know how to guard against them. The good news is that a few clear practices go a very long way. The most important one is to keep a human in the loop. AI should assist human judgment, not replace it, and A212, especially for decisions that matter. Let the AI do the heavy lifting, draft the text, screen the first pass, surface the analysis, but have a person review and approve the important outputs. Someone who can catch the bias, question the confident error, and notice the hallucination. The combination of AI in 39, speed, and a human in 39, judgment is far safer and better than either alone. Human oversight is the single strongest safeguard. The second practice is to verify what matters. Do not take AI in 39. Sexual claims on faith NI212A, check the important ones against a reliable source. If an AI gives you a statistic, a citation, a name, or a date that you are going to rely on, confirm it independently before you use it. This directly neutralizes hallucination and confident errors. The fluent, sure-sounding answer means nothing until it is checked, and checking is usually quick. Make verification a habit for anything consequential, and the invented facts simply never make it into your work. And the third practice reaches back to the root cause, care about the data. Since flaws come from data, better data means fewer flaws. Train and use AI on data that is accurate, representative, and fair. Be aware of what the data might be missing or skewing, and question decisions about people across different groups to catch bias. Oversight, verification, and good data, and A212. These three together turn AI from a risky black box into a trustworthy tool. You are not eliminating the limits because you cannot, you are managing them, which is exactly what a skilled professional does with any powerful instrument. So the takeaway, guard against AI in 39, limits with three practices and A212, keep a human in the loop to review important outputs, verify factual claims against reliable sources before relying on them, and use accurate, representative, fair data while checking for bias, and A212, which does not eliminate the limits but manages them, turning a risky tool into a trustworthy one. Let us gather all of this into a simple mindset you can carry into every use of AI, so the lessons become second nature. First, treat AI as a capable assistant, not an infallible oracle. This framing alone prevents most trouble. An assistant is enormously useful, does real work for you, and makes you faster, and A212, but you still check its work and make the final call. An oracle you obey without question. AI is the former, brilliant help that you supervise, never a source of truth you accept blindly. Hold that frame and you will use it with exactly the right amount of trust. Second, verify anything important. make it a reflex. The moment an AI gives you a fact, figure, or claim that you are going to depend on, a small voice should say, N8 to 200. Check that. 8 to 200. Because AI can be confidently wrong and can hallucinate. This one habit catches the failures that would otherwise slip through. The more consequential the output, the more this matters. N8 212. A casual brainstorm needs no fact-checking, but a number in a report absolutely does. And third, stay alert to bias, use good data, and keep a human in the loop. And 80 to 100 have the safeguards we just covered now as ongoing habits rather than one-time steps. Ask whether an AIIN39's decisions might be unfair to some group, prefer good, representative data, and make sure a person reviews what counts. Do these three things, and A200 of all, assistant not oracle, verify what matters, guard against bias with oversight and A200 of all, and you get the full power of AI while sidestepping its traps. That is what it means to use AI wisely, not to fear it and not to worship it, but to work with it, eyes open. So the takeaway, use AI wisely by holding one mindset and A200 bulb. Treat it as a capable assistant you supervise, rather than an infallible oracle. Verify anything important as a reflex, and stay alert to bias with good data and human oversight. And 8-hold, giving you AI and a SIT9's full power while sidestepping its traps, not fearing it, not worshipping it, but working with it, eyes open. Let us gather the whole class in one breath. The limits matter, because AI is powerful, but not magic, and its failures hide behind a polished surface. AI learns entirely from data, so flaws in the data become flaws in the model. Bias is skewed data, producing unfair decisions automatically and at scale. Confident errors mean a model can be completely sure and completely wrong. Hallucination is fluent, convincing information that is simply invented. And all of it happens because AI matches patterns without understanding truth and A200 to fall. So we guard against it with oversight, verification, and good data. Next class, any 8-1-12, AI and ethics, privacy, fairness, and responsibility. One idea at a time. That is the honest picture of